Hello again, friends, and welcome to Marketing with Purpose. My name is Monica Pitts, and today I am going to help you solve the challenge of how you ask for donations when the problem you're trying to solve is that COVID canceled your fundraising event. Now, as a bonus, too, I'm going to talk about, because it's really the same answer, the answer to the question is really the same. How do you ask for donations when what you need is a new staff member or to raise money for administrative costs? And I also have some advice from some of my expert friends that I can share with you because heaven knows I certainly don't know everything. And so I called them in to say, hey, what would you do? And they answered me. So that's awesome. So stay tuned and I will give advice from John Baker, Kathleen Murphy Toms, Jamie Friedrichs, and Sean Spence. Okay, so now with that, now that you understand that this is going to be a totally awesome episode, I do want to let you know that there's going to be some strange deviations in audio a little bit because I, just like I advised you to do, recycled some of my audio from a Facebook Live episode that I recorded back in October for the Craft Your Ask Challenge. And I was like, you know what? You could re-record it. And then I thought, no, you know what? You said it right the first time. It sounds good. Let's just let the audio vary a little bit. You can hear everything okay. And it's about getting the message out. It's not about having everything perfect all the way, all the time. And I know that you guys feel that every single day, the need to make things absolutely perfect. I know I do, but sometimes it's just important that we put ourselves out there. So today, for you, I'm putting myself out there with perfectly imperfect audio. There you go. And with that said, let's get to business. You're on a mission and you just need more people to know about it. And whether you're brand new to marketing or a seasoned pro, we are all looking for answers to make marketing decisions with purpose. I'm Monica Pitts, a techie, crafty business owner, mom, and aerial dancer who solves communication challenges through technology. This podcast is all about digging in and going digital. I'll share my marketing know-how and business experience from almost 20 years of misadventures. I'll be your backup dancer so you can stop doubting and get moving towards marketing with purpose. I have just one public service announcement before we get started. And I'm calling it a public service announcement because I really believe that some of you guys would absolutely benefit from this particular service, or rather thing. Maybe we'll call it a product. Either way, so really what it is a year-end giving email schedule and templates. You can shave hours off your to-do list with this complete set of fill-in-the-blank year-end giving email templates. And they even come complete with an on-demand training video on best practices for sending your emails. So hop on over to makecreate.com/year-end emails and download them right now for $7. And with that out of the way, let's get to our episode. So throughout the events that we've been hosting this fall, as well as my consulting sessions, I have been noticing some patterns. As we've been talking about the 3-part recipe to craft your year-end fundraising ask, which you can hop back on over to our last episode to learn more about. But briefly, this 3-part recipe consists of 3 things. First, you have to define the problem you're trying to solve. Second, you show your donors that they are indeed the solution to the problem. And then third, you position your nonprofit as the right middleman to make that solution come to fruition. So we start with the problem. And as my nonprofits have been defining this problem for me, that's where I'm seeing these patterns come to surface. They're telling me I need to raise money because my events were canceled. I need to raise money because I need another person or I need to cover admin costs. And well, first I would like to, one, validate you because those are absolutely very real reasons and very valid reasons why you need to be raising money right now. And also I want to caution you a little bit because, well, that might not be exactly the way that you want to phrase your year-end giving ask.
Okay, so how do you handle those problems? How do you express that to your donors? This is a great question. So I want you to take a step back from the challenge that you're trying to solve. And I need you to ask yourself, why are you trying to solve that problem? Right. And I don't mean like justify it to yourself, but I mean, how does it serve the greater good? For example, if you couldn't do your fundraising and so you were short on funding this year, what did it stop you from doing? How did it stop you from benefiting your community? That's the thing that we want to talk about when we ask for donations. The things that we couldn't do because we didn't have the funding, right? So focus on that. So a couple examples that I had from that is one of our participants said that they could only do 3 of their 5 programs. So who did that impact? What were those 2 programs that you couldn't do, and who would normally benefit from those programs? How did that impact your community? That's the thing that you want to talk about. Not just, well, because of COVID, things didn't go well. Like, let's get specific here and let's talk about it and let's show them that this impacted their community and it impacted people. And then another one was one group had to switch, and instead of serving 100 families, they could only serve 50 because they had to move from just after school care to full day care, right? They're short 50 families. That's a lot. How did that impact those people? How does that impact those kids that they couldn't serve? What does that look like? Because that's the problem that you're trying to solve. That's why you need more donations, so that way you can serve those whole 100 families that you usually serve instead of just 50 because of this, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. So when you haven't had enough funding or when COVID has impacted you negatively, I want you to think back and I need you to go, why is this important? Who did this impact? That's the thing we want to talk about. Okay, so then the second one is administrative things. So you want to have a new admin person, or maybe you just need to keep the people you have. Okay, so with that, once again, we're going to go back to the why. So I understand as a business owner, I understand that when you have quality people, when you keep quality people, you do better work. You can serve more people. I understand that. But not everyone is going to interpret it that way. So instead, I want you to think about, what are the outcomes of having this additional person on staff? What does that allow you to do? How can you better serve your constituents by having this additional support? A great example of this is one of our participants said that, right now they have a waiting list. They can only serve 15 families, but they have 17 families on the waiting list. And if they could expand their facility, then they could easily serve 30 families. So they have to raise, what was it, $117,000, or maybe it was $170,000. Either way, a good chunk of change, right? To be able to expand their facilities to serve these extra families. They need to focus on those outcomes, right? It's not we're raising money so that way we can build a building. It's we're raising money so we can serve twice as many people, because then twice as many people can have this benefit of using our service. So how does that impact your community, right? So go back to that. And when I use the word community, because I find myself doing that a lot these days, I don't just mean where you live. I mean what you serve. So it could be a community of people, or it could be a community of animals. It could be the community is the world, right? So it's kind of a loose term there.
Now, I am giving you this advice as a marketer, as a salesperson, as a person who's spent the last 20 years of her life getting people to buy things and get excited about stuff. But when the first person asked me this question, I was like, wait a second, Monica, you're not a fundraiser. And then I was like, oh, well, I mean, kind of a fundraiser, right? I mean, you sell things, you ask for money. You've asked for money from people for a long time. But I also felt like I really needed to ask some other people, because that's what it's all about, right? When you don't know the answer, when you're maybe not quite sure about something, you reach out to those people who you know are super duper smart and you ask them. And so that is what I did with this question. I asked my favorite fundraising experts, John Baker, Kathleen Murphy-Toms, Jamie Friedrichs, and Sean Spence, what they would do. Like, how do they ask for donations when they need to add a new staff member or raise money for administrative costs? And they are so sweet. They actually responded to my email. So I want to share with you what they had to say. John Baker, who is the executive director for the Community Foundation of Central Missouri, said that you should mention the problem that you're trying to solve and then state how the new or returning staff member helps contribute to solving the problem. And then my friend Kathleen Murphy-Toms, who is the director of digital strategy for Giving Tuesday, says focus on the mission because a staff position is part of the solution to the problem. Now, my friend Jamie Friedrichs, who is a fundraising coach and also founder of newfundraisingpros.com, which is an online community that is totally free for fundraisers that they can go on and collaborate together. She says her short answer is she wouldn't raise money for salaries. She raises money for what the person will do. So, for example, if money is needed to do something in a mass marketing appeal, which is really what a lot of year-end fundraising is, then for an individual donor, like a business owner, you might be able to talk more detailed about the budget with all that money being raised for hiring someone. But honestly, it's all capacity building at the end. Saying serve more people in most situations is all you need to say. If you can make it really specific, then that's even better. We serve 100 families right now, and with your help, we can serve 125 families that we already know need us next. And you don't even have to mention the new position. I know, it's so hard, isn't it, though? Because we want to be so incredibly transparent because we're all honest people. But what Jamie's saying is really true. We can say what we're going to do with the money. We don't have to specifically say what we're going to do with the money. Does that make sense? In her example, she says with the money, she's going to serve 125 families that they already know need them. But you know that is going to require you to hire another staff member, but you probably don't even need to mention hiring another staff member. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, my friend Sean Spence, who is CEO and founder of Better Nonprofits and the Armchair Telethon and Every Event Gives. Oh man, he says focus on the impact of the money rather than the mechanics. So instead of focusing on hiring someone, focus on the number of people you would help and the amount of service that you would provide, and talk about why this is important and valuable. Now, for those of you guys who listened to our last podcast about the 3-part recipe to crafting your year-end fundraising ask, I bet that you're hearing some serious similarities between that recipe and what these experts have to say. So for me, it just all came full circle, and I really appreciated all these people giving us their advice so that way we could learn from it and use it when we talk about what we need money for at the end of 2020.
So to repeat myself, just going back, when we're defining the problem that we're trying to solve for our donors, when we're making our asks, we want to focus on the why. Like, how is it impacting the community? Why are we doing it? And not focus on those administrative tasks or focus on the fact that the events didn't happen, right? Because we know that. But how did that change things? How did it make it so you couldn't do your mission?
And that's the same thing that we heard both from my gut and from our experts when we talk about raising money for a new staff person or for administrative costs. We're not focusing on filling a position. We're focusing on bettering our community. We're focused on the end result, right? Going back to Jamie's thing that she said she would say, we serve 100 families right now, and with your help, we can serve 125 families that we already know need us next. Not even mentioning the new position. Just always focusing on the why in your ask for donations. Now, before I let you go, I want to remind you one more time about the opportunity to download the year-end giving email schedule and templates for $7. Now, you know that you need to send year-end giving emails. And well, actually, maybe you don't know, because some people think that emails are super old school. But I want to tell you what I know. My company, Make Create Design, is the marketing arm for Como Gives, which is our community's year-end, month-long online giving campaign. It supports 142 nonprofits. It's ran by the Community Foundation of Central Missouri. And I know that 1 in every 6 email visitors donates, but only 1 in 20 social media visitors donate on comogives.com. And I also know that the average donation for an email is $273, but the social media visitors only average 107. That is 134% more. So I figure we all need more donations. So we need to lean into what works. So lean into email this year. Just give it a try. Send these emails to your supporters. Ask them for donations the good old-fashioned way. I mean, isn't that weird that I just said email's old-fashioned? Either way, if it is to you or if it's not, these will really help you get started. You can just fill in the blanks and copy paste, and you'll be on your way to more donations this year in giving season. Download them now at Mayecreate, MAYECREATE.com/year-end emails. And that, my friends, is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Marketing with Purpose. My name is Monica Pitts. Now, go forth and market with purpose.